Hi, my name's Ashley Flomlove, and I am a senior at Lourdes University, and I'll be graduating this spring. Um, so this leadership class kind of related to another class I was taking this semester in organizational behavior, and I noticed that a lot of the times when we did our forums, it related back to this class, so it actually helped having the two at the same time, and a lot of the articles we read for this class, I was able to use as references for my projects in the other class. So going back to what we've learned this whole semester, coming into the class, I knew it was a leadership class, and I figured we'd be talking about different leadership types, and I was able to see different ways people can try to be a leader, and how people are born leaders and are good at things they do where other people have to work on it. And then reading articles like the Steve Jobs, he is someone that is a role model and that I look up to, but that's not who I wrote my paper on. But he, after reading the articles, you just see how much he took from scratch and was able to build Apple and make it a successful company that many people use their products and look up to their company for advice, or will look into it to see what they did. And then other leaders we talked about, it was just a good eye opener, with ethical leadership that relates back to classes I've taken. I took business ethics, so that section was pretty relatable and just a repeat. So it was helpful having that class before this class. And then, so people, when they think of a leader, think of someone that's on their team or in their class that they look up to that can help them improve, and that challenges them to do better, and that just helps them overall. Or it could be someone they look up to that is running a business like Steve Jobs, or an athlete. It could be a student athlete looks up to LeBron James or something, just because of his success in the sport and because of his leadership styles maybe. But some people don't think about people in their everyday lives who are teachers and nurses and stuff like that. So I actually did mine on Ellen DeGeneres, who isn't an athlete. She has her own show, and with her show, she's able to be a role model, but that's not the reason I wrote about her. So I decided that she is a role model because not only that she came out, and for people that don't know who she has her own TV show and was the first, I want to say the first actor or actress to come out publicly, which was a big deal. And this was back in 2003, I want to say. And so she had her own TV show, and before it was called Ellen, it was a different name. And she actually had Oprah come on her show, and that's how she did a little interview, and that's how she came out jokingly as a comedian. And so this was a big turning point for her and for viewers. So there were people who that watched her show and seen it and were furious and disrespected by her and everything, and just were ashamed of her coming out and couldn't believe that she did it. But she didn't come out, she thought about how people would react, and she didn't choose to hide from it because she knew she was different and knew that she was gay the whole time. But she chose to come out not only for herself to live a better life, but so other people who are going through the same thing could be oh, she did it and she is still doing great and everything. And so she was someone that younger kids could look up to during this time. So she actually, in my paper, I wrote about how she actually got hate mail from people and death threats, but then she also got letters from people saying that they saved her life because of this, because they were pretending to be someone they weren't and hiding everything. So she also, like in the articles we read, it talked about how people deal with, like, she went through tons of depression because her TV show ended up getting canceled after she came out, and for a while she was just sitting there doing nothing, jobless, and kind of hiding from people, but she didn't react negatively. She didn't write back to people and say, like, oh, blah, 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 and, like, go at them, or, like, didn't react to them. She instead kept working and trying to get a job. And so, like, the articles we read, it said some people, like, great leaders are able to go through hard times and come back positively and use that to motivate them and work harder. So Ellen actually was able to go through her depression stage and then come back. She ended up getting her show back, Ellen, and then she ended up, in 2003, she came back and did the Disney movie Nemo, and she was Dory in that movie, so this was like a turning point for her back to her normal stage. And then she ended up being a host for the Emmys a couple times, and she was recognized for, like, People of the Year and everything, and people started turning around because now, back then, this was a big deal and people looked at it negatively, where now people accept it, and, like, times change and generations are different. And this kind of relates to this summer I took a class called Fundamentals of Leadership with my internship at Cedar Point. And one thing that, like, I'm going to remember that sticks out is, like, the different types of generation. So we learn, like, different communication types, like body language and how to present yourself. And so with the different generations, we talked about how people, so, like, baby bloomers like to communicate a different way because they didn't grow up with technology, so they don't prefer to use it. They like the face-to-face. And like, millennials can do texting and calls and everything. So it's just all different, and, like, our generation accepts what she did, and I think because it was so long ago, people are starting to, like, realize, oh, like, she actually made a big change and positively and didn't just do this and people aren't as mad. So she also hit on some of the, like, characteristics that we read in our articles about emotional intelligence. She has this, and she has her TV show Ellen and goes to work every day trying to make people laugh with she's a comedian, so she does it through that, and she also is always giving to people. So she donates to, like, schools or organizations or people. And so what she does, instead of, like, other TV shows with having people come on her show that are popular, she has, like, a website you can submit that they go through. So if you're having issues or you know someone that deserves something, you can put it on her website. So she'll bring, like, teachers in that spend money out of their own pocket to help their students because their school struggles with money and the teachers care so much. So she'll bring people like this, like, everyday normal people that aren't famous and don't get the recognition for their leadership, and, like, brings them on the show just to, like, get the awareness out of other people and not to just have famous people on her show. And then she also gives to them. So she'll, like, in the past with teachers or families that are struggling, she'll usually donate money or give them a gift card, like a big gift card to a store because their house got wrecked, like in a hurricane or something like this. So she's trying to keep her show more positive so people aren't always watching, like, the news and seeing negative things or talking about negative issues. And she really never talks about, like, things that are going on in the world negatively. And, like, this year when the Las Vegas shooting happened, she ended up taking part in her show, but like you can tell when she was talking about how much she cared and how much, even though it's like no one she knew and she's not from Las Vegas or anything, but it touches her and like she cares about others. She has empathy for people, which is something we talked about in our articles and like in our forums. So she touches on all of the characteristics that we've talked about through the article What Makes a Leader. And so she does the self-awareness. She knows what she's good at. She uses her jokes and everything to make other people's days and give other people something to look forward to on her show and like make their day better. And then self-regulation and motivation. She's always motivating people to be themselves and not be someone they're not, or to do something just to impress someone else. She has the empathy, which is another one of the 5 skills from What Makes a Leader. And like I already said, she feels for people that she's never met before or that are non-famous people, everyday lives. She has empathy for them and chooses to give to them and everything like that. And she also uses her social skills, obviously, on her show. And she has another show that just came out, so she's doing a lot. And then with hosting the Emmys and everything, she's always involved. So I just thought, like, I didn't want to do for my project, I didn't want to do someone that people have done, like, the past semester or that someone else in the class would have picked. So I tried thinking of someone besides one of our presidents. I didn't want to do an athlete because it's harder to find a leader that's an athlete, but I just didn't want to pick one of them. And then so I just thought of Ellen because that's someone that I watch on TV and that I see on Facebook when I'm scrolling through, and that always has videos of giving and being a leader, and that's someone I look up to. And I just respect her a lot for everything she's gone through to be who she wants to be. And then I also found on one of the websites it said, and I've seen a video on Facebook before, where President Obama actually awarded her with I forget exactly what the award was called, but she got like the presidential award. And like obviously President Obama, seeing like how much of a leader she is and how caring and giving she is, to deserve it. So I thought that was a cool award and recognition for her, and she really deserved it. But overall, I definitely think that she was a good choice, and I'm happy I picked her because it was really easy to write this paper and then relating it back to our articles and other leaders we've talked about. So I just wanted to say that was it, and I enjoyed this class. Okay, bye.